G'day everyone. Well, we've had a little bit of a breaking news story coming to me today. I was contacted by our friend, old Steve-O. He's been chatting to Arthur, and apparently there's some prison officer who's left the country. He's scattered the country because he's trying to avoid being charged for a number of criminal offences. You coming up on Wednesday, is that right, Arthur?
Fuck, they're hot ass. Right. Murder trial, mate. I'm a witness in it for the defence.
So does that mean you're allowed to leave?
So we'll
do you still have those stupid bail conditions that keeps you in Dunedin?
Yeah, at the moment. But you know, when I'm in Auckland, I've got free reign, you know, except it's night. Yeah. Here's our light, mate. It's the light in the right way, not.
Oh, that's all right. So, what do you want to tell me about this this naughty prison officer?
Well, first thing, let's look at what a prison officer's job is. They're supposed to, you know, they have a duty. The Department of Corrections owes a duty of care to the people that are put in its custody by the courts. These prison officers are supposed to be, well, basically law enforcement officers, not law-breaking officers. Now, and I thought this was an isolated case when I first got contacted by this young lady that had been a prisoner in Women's Corrections Facility at Wiri there, that she'd been sexually abused.
Is that down south? Is it
after I put it up on Facebook, there's numerous people at PM.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I was just wondering, just for the ones that don't know,
numerous.
Where is Wiri?
Wiri's in South Auckland. Auckland Women's Corrections Facility, ARWCF.
I know we are around the back end of like sort of back end of Manurewa or something like that.
How'd Drive, Wiri.
Yeah.
Out by the airport, out down from the airport.
I think I actually recorded.
Yeah, basically, Auckland Airport.
Yeah, I think I actually recorded there once. Right next door to them is Child, Youth and Family, or a Rangatamariki lock-up place there as well. Right next door to them.
Yeah, I think Child, Youth and Family.
Down the end of a cul-de-sac.
I think you could be right, actually.
Yeah, they didn't take kindly to us walking down there with cameras, put it that way.
Yeah, you know what they're like. You know, they're all paranoid and fucking, excuse the language, paranoid and obsessed with their self-importance, shall we say. Yeah. So anyway, this young lady got in touch with me. She'd complained while she was in the prison. The police are investigating it. But this chappie, that the offender had been given an opportunity to, well, not given an opportunity, took an opportunity to flee to Fiji, where I understand he is presently. I understand Interpol have located him, and the New Zealand police are going to try their best to bring him back to New Zealand. I don't know how the hell he got out of the country in the, you know, in the midst of the COVID crisis, you know, the restrictions on international travel, etc. Okay. I assume he's a Fiji citizen, and that's how he's got back there.
Sorry, you just cut out on that last bit.
She was extremely frustrated, and
you just cut out on that last bit, Arthur. It's just, sorry, it's telling me the internet cable is unstable, but stuff it will carry on. Go for it.
Yeah.
So he's over in Fiji.
He's over in Fiji, yeah. Now what happened was, she was a prisoner in this prison. This guy had been forcing her to give him oral sex. You know, using all the power of a prison officer. He had forced her to give him oral sex on at least 10 occasions over a period of over a month. On one occasion, she reported it to a woman prison officer. He virtually did nothing, belittled her, said she didn't believe her. And then when she saw her walking out of the, you know, off duty out of the unit with the effect. So you imagine how that made her feel.
Yeah.
So she spoke to another prisoner at the prison who told her what was going on.
Yep.
And she advised her that the only way that it would come to an end was to try and get some rock solid evidence on this guy, right? His nickname in the prison is Bad Boy. Bad Boy. Yep.
Sort of
he's a bad boy, right? And very apt name for him, isn't it? Yeah. the staff and prisoners out there alike call him Bad Boy. You know, so basically, she was, as I said, advised by another woman prisoner what to do. So the next time he abused her, she spat his semen out of her mouth onto an article of prison clothing, and then called in the police.
Nice.
Very wise move, because if she'd handed it over to the prison authorities, it would have gone missing, Mark.
Exactly. So yeah. And there's going to be a bit of a question as to how his semen got out of his cock anywhere, isn't it?
Onto her prison uniform.
Yes.
Yeah. And I'll just tell you, but she's a very brave young lady. She's agreed to come. You know, she's agreed to come. You know, she's normally they hide away in shame. You know.
Is this
Helena? She's a very brave young lady.
Helena's her name, isn't it? Helena? On the stuff interview, on the article I was reading.
The young lady's name, I can't, not going to use your name at the moment. Eh? Okay. I haven't read the stuff article at this stage. Is there a stuff article out, is it?
Yeah, she's actually a little video of it. I'm going to, there's a little video of her talking. I'm going to be incorporating that. I'll send you the link to it if you like, and you can have a look.
Yeah, that might be an idea, yeah. Anyway, so...
carry on.
Yeah, so I explained to her that the only way that would get some action out, you know, real action out, the corrections of the police, was to involve media pressure, right?
Sure.
And when the media start asking questions on the head office of corrections and the police, they start, you know, they realise it's not going to be able to be swept under the carpet, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So that, and you know, I explained to her it's not your fault. You know, this animal took. We're hearing a lot about abuse that went on in state institutions many years ago. This is going on today.
Sure.
You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The Royal Commission into Abuse and Care. Absolutely. I mean, you testified in one of the contextual hearings, didn't you?
That's right. I did. Yeah, I did. Yeah, and so this is going on today. Today. You know, all we were all going on about what went on many years ago, and that was bad enough. You know, this is serious stuff.
And if it's happening to one, no doubt it's happening to more than one.
Of course it has. Since I publicised this, many women have come forward and told me that sexual abuse at Auckland Women's Prison is rife. Wow. Yes. And I've no doubt, you've only got to listen to this young lady and you know she's 100% credible. I believe I've sent you a recording of some of her, and you've heard her voice. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, you know.
I'll incorporate that into this video as well.
He used to wake me up in the morning or come to my window. The cameras weren't covered. Sometimes he'll tell me to cover them, and pretty much just had to do as I was told, because he was the one running at risk, and he's the one with the remote to the TV, and how much time you get out of those fucking cells and at risk that you're always locked in. Pretty much I was very unwell at this time, and he knew I was unwell, and I think he preyed on me because he knew I was unwell. But also there was a lot of girls in that risk that he was doing sick things to.
Absolutely, no doubt. So of course backed up by the semen. I mean, that didn't come out of fresh air, did it?
Yeah, well, it worked for Monica Lewinsky, didn't it?
So the police, well, that's what come to mind, actually. It sounds like something out of a novel, doesn't it? Instead of a filthy, dirty cell at Auckland Women's Prison in New Zealand, where the hell's Kelvin Davis? He should be demanding an immediate inquiry into this. He should be calling the chief executive in and demanding a full inquiry into what's going on at Auckland Women's Prison.
Yeah,
women don't get sent to, imagine if the judges, they don't send these women to prison to be sexually abused.
No, they don't.
Yeah.
You know what,
I'm very passionate about this, Mark. I'm bloody annoyed. Well, the police have got a long history of sexual abuse in their ranks as well.
Oh yeah, look at the Batting Boys. Yeah.
Well, look at bloody that what was their name? Shipton and Sholem, you know?
Yep.
shipped him in Shillong to Rotorua.
Yep.
You know, convicted of rape. Yeah. Disgusting bloody animals, you know. And operating under the cloak, hey, you out there watching this, these people are only able to get away with this and operate because they're operating under the cloak of state power, corrections and police.
Yep.
You know, imagine it was one of your daughters or your mother or your auntie or whoever, you know.
Yeah, well, their answer would be, well, they'd never be in prison. You know, that's the answer you get with people like
they
that.
Weren't sent. They can say all that, like, mate. They weren't sent to prison to be sexually abused.
I agree.
You know, there's people put in prison for rape and sexual violation, which is what this is. This amounts in law to sexual violation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they get sent to prison for 8-9 years, and here's the guards doing it to the women prisoners.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on?
So much for rehabilitation, eh?
Fucking friggin' rehabilitation, all right. I'd like to rehabilitate the guards that are responsible, believe me.
So I'm
sure
stage,
some of these women's boyfriends.
So at this stage, as you know, the police are they're over in Fiji and they know where he is and they're trying to extradite him back here to face charges.
I would hope so. This is Manukau police are investigating this. I want them to forget it's a woman prisoner.
They didn't do it with Dr. Leaks now, did they?
Forget it's a woman prisoner. It's a woman being sexually violated. Right? That's all they need to remember. Forget the prejudice against it's a woman prisoner. You know, I'll tell you now, if this was someone in the community, this guy wouldn't have got the chance to flee to Fiji. I understand I've now got a court order. When he was taxed with this, Jimmy Boyles, big boy, he refused to hand over a sample of his DNA, right? Now, so the police, as I understand it, have gone to the court and got a court order that he has to. And it's in that window that he fled the country.
So he skipped so he thinks he's home and host because he skipped the jurisdiction. But Fiji's part of New Zealand's Commonwealth, isn't it?
Well,
they must have extradition laws or something to get him back here.
Well, that's right. They should be able to extradite him. You know, I mean, we extradited Philip Smith from Brazil, didn't we? When we didn't even have an extradition treaty. So, yeah. Well, we didn't extradite him. He got booted out the country. So
it needs to happen.
Yeah,
I wonder if the
either way, this chappie needs to be brought back here to face justice.
I wonder if the Fijian authorities understand what's going on, or if they're in the loop. You know, they should kick him out.
Well, he may be a Fijian citizen. I don't know. And they can't kick you out. You can't kick your own citizens out.
Right.
Yeah, but it needs to be brought back here to face justice. I want people to, as I've already said, forget this woman was a prisoner. Imagine she's just a normal woman in the community, and she's forced to do this.
Irrespective of her status, she's still a female and she's still been raped. Simple as that.
That's right. And I want to know where all the women's writers are. Where are they sticking up for protecting the rights of these women prisoners in Wiri? Where the hell are they? You know?
It goes to show the selective treatment some groups will use.
Exactly.
You know,
exactly.
It's the old story.
They undermine the
divide and conquer. Everyone's getting divided into their own little groups. They're all fighting amongst themselves. Meanwhile, the powers above are just doing whatever the hell they like because they've got the citizens fighting amongst each other and not looking at the actual problem.
That old saying, Mark, divide and rule.
Yep.
All right?
Yep.
Corrections, the police, the government only too well aware of that old saying. It's true, tried and true on many an occasion.
It's a shame another catchphrase of theirs, the old trust and confidence, isn't working too well for them these days, is it?
No, well, fortunately, I can tell you right now, there's an undercurrent out there now that there was a time when everything Corrections said, it's got a, in case you don't know, most people don't understand, Corrections has a massive spin doctor department. It's comms section, right? It employs considerable number of people at very nice salaries, basically to spin the news and fend off criticism of Corrections. And that's their full-time job.
Play the correct narrative.
The taxpayer.
Yep, all to play the narrative.
Yeah, basically, basically it's the fact it's to stop the truth getting out, and when the truth does get out, to try and undermine Messenger, which they do against me on occasion. But unfortunately, many of the public understand now where that they're more likely to listen to me than corrections these days.
Yeah.
So the message is getting through.
Exactly, and like you say,
undoubtedly,
there's an undercurrent there. I mean, they can only, especially in such a small population country, you can only piss off so many people before something happens. And I mean, Orangi Tamariki are learning that with what they do, and it's not just that government department; it's all government departments are rife with corruption. And
what worries me with that,
there's no exception.
Yeah, well, they're bad enough at Tamariki. I don't get OT, I'll call them. But there's a cross-fertilisation between government departments. Now, they learn, employees of corrections pick up a very bad habits and very bad culture. We've had a case down in Dunedin recently where a senior officer probation here, who I know personally, Coiler Cameron, has moved across to OT to become one of their senior bosses here in Dunedin. Now, I'm receiving complaints about Coiler all the time about the bad habits she's brought to OT. They were bad enough already without bringing more from corrections.
Yeah, they'll probably have what's called a memorandum of understanding between the two. They always have that little, quiet handshake behind. And the amount of
snap each other's backs.
Exactly. But these little memorandums of understandings
pat each other's backs.
Go looking.
Yes. Yeah, pat each other's backs, tell them what great fellas they are, go to all these high-paid meetings, charter aircraft, whatever, hotels, taxpayers' expense, telling each other what a great job they're doing. Meanwhile, out there, if they only went down and talked to some of their clients, they'd find what a great job they're doing, all right?
Yeah.
There's a great deal of satisfaction simmering away out there.
So, how many people have you heard that are actually getting sexually assaulted? Is it just the one girl that you know of, or is there?
At the moment, I've got 5 or 6. 5 or 6. And this poor girl, this unfortunate young lady that was bad boy was sexually assaulted. She was assaulted by other prison officers. See, they probably talk among themselves and work out who's a compliant victim.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I think you've listened to one of her messages where she said she had to do what they told her to do.
Yeah.
They had control over things like the
TV
over their daily life.
Yeah. So you get a little bit of extra TV time or a little bit of extra this.
Yeah.
Just give it a bit of a polish, and we can do a bit of extra trading.
Few more apples through the hatch. Things like that, or extra time out of your cell. They might seem like very little to people that aren't in jail, but they're a great deal to them in there. And the worst thing, Mark, and I've got to make a special point of making this point here. Yep. I warned them when I took the tobacco litigation case. That's when I won against the government. And I got their tobacco ban in prisons declared unlawful by 2 different High Court judges. Right. And then Judith Collins went to Parliament and got them to change law to overrule the court decisions, right? Which is a direct affront on the rule of law, but at the time, most people didn't take any notice because it was prisoners.
Exactly.
I warned them then that in prison, tobacco is a de facto medication. It's in a very desert-like environment.
No, it's something else.
And
it's
tobacco was their one sort of point of stimulus for the day, most prisoners,
something
right?
you can get addicted to.
What's going on now, and I warned them there would be a major black market in tobacco developed, right?
Sure. Makes perfect sense.
So these prison officers are trading, tobacco for sex, but not only tobacco, lozenges. See, in the prisons, they give them a 18-day supply of lozenges. If they come in
there's something wrong with that. They damage their throats and then give them lozenges to help their throats. So charming.
These are those, what's it called, that nicotine replacement therapy thing, lozenges, right?
Yeah.
They call them lozzies. Right. I had a comment from another the other day that a prison officer offered her a slide of lozzies. They come in packs of 12.
Sure.
Right?
Just a tray.
You get 12 a day for 18 days, right? They offered her a slide of lozzie to use her, quote unquote, to show him my tits. And she's, quote unquote, I'm no lozzie whore. This is
Wow.
what's going on all the time. They know what's going on.
So the terminology is rife throughout the system as well.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you know, I've sent an email today to Steve Parr, the director of Auckland Women's Prison. I've copied it to his deputy, John Small. I've copied it to the Inspector of Corrections, asking for the 3 named officers who I have evidence on to be stood down immediately from duties, or if the very least moved from having day-to-day contact where they've got control over women. Right? This needs to happen, not only to keep them away from the women, but to send a signal to the other guards. This will not be tolerated.
Yeah. Send that through to me as well, if you like, Arthur. Wouldn't mind having a look.
Yeah, I will, mate. I'll send that through to you. Yep.
Cool.
Definitely. Yeah. So there hasn't been any response yet, but I've also, the mainstream media, since it was publicised on my Facebook page, have been in touch with me. And
isn't it interesting how the mainstream media tend to watch channels like yours and mine, and then all of a sudden our footage or our story shows up on mainstream media? That's happened quite a few times to me now. It's like they're watching our channels to get the actual truth.
Yeah. So I don't knock them because you know, I don't care how the message gets out there, as long as it gets out there. We have to protect these vulnerable women from people who are acting under the cloak of state authority from abusing them.
Yep, it should be.
I mean, for God's
sake, it should be happening yesterday as well. Shouldn't be taking months for investigation. Should just be stopped.
That should just be stopped. You know, it's just crazy stuff. You know, these women, they don't wake up in the morning and suddenly say, "Oh, I'll accuse someone of sexually abusing me." You know, because they suffer retaliation. That's why they're scared. That's why these women have now come forward, because they've seen me break it and they've thought, "Oh, right, okay, the door's been opened." You know, they're scared of these people. They can have an enormous effect on their lives, even when they're out of jail. Yeah, even when they're out of jail, they're on probation and correct. They work for corrections, probation officers. They can back up on them, as we say, and they're scared. They don't know what their powers are. They haven't got a clue what they can do to them. They just know they can make their life very bad, very hard. And it's bloody shameful, you know. Yeah.
Well, it's an abuse.
It's almost tearful, you know.
Yeah. I mean, they have a lot of power and a lot of privilege, and a lot of responsibility and duty of care, and they just seem to not give a fuck. It's all what they can get for the power that they have. It's very sickening.
Yeah.
Well, I personally think the people that are stepping forward, they deserve everybody's support, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, they do. They do, Mark. They're very brave ladies. And I mean, just put yourself in their shoes. It's bad enough being in prison, let alone getting abused by the people who are meant to be looking after you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you can expect something from another inmate, but not from those that are supposed to be keeping the peace.
Well, I would expect the, you know, sitting back wondering how the hell they're going to handle this. Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure the minister. Well, you see, the media are making inquiries with them. You see, the media have given them until tomorrow to answer. They haven't answered yet. They hit them up over the weekend, I understand, and earlier this morning they want answers. Yeah.
So they're not just getting contacted by you; they'll be getting contacted by all of the media organisations as well.
Yeah, right.
So it'll be panic at the moment.
I'll be panic mode. I mean, we've got to look at it, as I really emphasised, we've got to look at it in the context of the current inquiry into historic abuse when it's happening today.
Yeah.
If evidence came forward of this happening historically, the commission would be all over it by now.
Well, that just proves
and similar.
You know, if you don't learn from history, you're doomed to repeat it. Well, clearly we didn't learn from history, and it's still getting repeated to this day.
Exactly. Well, New Zealand's an expert at that. See, New Zealand, as you'll understand, Mark, is an expert at window dressing, basically.
Oh, yeah.
You know, presenting a great respecter of human rights, defender of human rights, poking our noses into lots of other countries, including Fiji, funny enough, their human rights.
Yeah.
Well, look at our bloody own.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, we're the only country that's been found guilty of torture in the Western world. You know?
Yeah.
But they'll keep that one hidden. They were supposed to make that public and known to all. And all the police did was post a little thing up on their website. So unless you don't go to police's website, you're not even going to know. And that's their way of saying that they've alerted.
Another thing, you know,
Sorry, go for
here's
it.
another little con job. Paul, they make a great deal of saying, "Oh, we're one of the national Transparency International," right? Well, guess what? We make donations to Transparency International. It's not actually; it's actually a private sort of body made up of. And guess what? It's not actual corruption they measure; it's perception of corruption. They don't actually measure corruption, because I'll tell you now,
Just the perception of it.
it's perception. The perception fostered by these bloody government agencies that contribute money, taxpayers' money, to Transparency International. You know,
Shocking.
outrageous. And I'll tell you something. In my book, there's two kinds of corruption, right? There's taking dollars for favours or some other bloody, something for doing favours, which can. And there's not doing your job.
Blowjobs for remote controls. Blowjobs for remote controls, for instance. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And we would be way up there now. I'll tell you that now. The only reason we haven't got the money for favours one well underway yet is because up until recent times, criminals haven't had all the sort of money overseas criminals have got to bribe the authorities. But you're going to find a lot more of that going on now, I'd say. In fact, we've seen signs of it already. You know, they're claiming that gangs are infiltrating government departments, and that was just in the news recently. So don't say New Zealand's one of the least corrupt countries in the world. It's just bloody one of the world leaders at hiding it, corruption, and sweeping it under the carpet.
Well, I noticed they're just trying to put some new legislation in so they can do what they consider to be, fake news, and they can now issue takedown notices. I noticed Parliament TV was just showing something in that effect. So shocking. What are they up to? Still there, Arthur? Still there, Arthur?
Yeah.
Oh, yep.
Oh, no. Yeah. You're not allowed to criticise the judiciary anymore, really.
They bloody well deserve it.
There's laws about that now.
Yeah, scandalising the court.
What's happened to the internet connection? Is that gone again?
Yeah, it's just coming and going. I think it's going.
I'll tell you what, I've got a great rule of thumb I operate by, Mark, and it's this: for evil to triumph, it only remains for good men and women to remain silent. So they're trying to silence them. See?
Yep. Evil flourishes when good people do nothing. That's basically what it was. I'm going to get this wrapped up and get it all edited up and out there for people to have a look.
To silence me, Mark. To silence me, they're going to have to get up a bloody side earlier in the morning. All right? All right?
True. Got to be.
I couldn't silence me in jail, and they can't silence. They won't be silencing me out here.
Yeah, exactly. All right, brother. Well, you have a good evening.
Yeah, mate. Early bed. Yeah. Right.
I may
you too, Mark. Thanks for your help, buddy. And
look forward here on Wednesday, bro.
Auckland, yeah. Well, look forward to bloody seeing you anyway.
Yeah, bro. All right.
Okay, bro.
See ya.